Our second, and last, request for the month is from the movie critic dude, whose request is on a Rankin Bass film. But not what you think it is. No, not this time. We're looking at Pinocchio's Christmas. And why not? It does feature everyone's favorite cricket.
You're a mess, kid. You'll break your papa's heart. You'll end up in the poorhouse or jail. Take it from me. Start changing your ways.
Wait, what? Pinocchio's Christmas is actually based off The Adventures of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi, which is the basis for almost all adaptations of Pinocchio, with this one being like one of those adventures he could be on during his journey of learning to become a real boy. Now, Rankin Bass Productions has done quite a lot with adapting various holiday stories into their own liking, either traditionally animated, or, at their best anyway, their stop-motion works, which many enjoy for its lighthearted and often bizarre stories and characters, or dislike for pretty much the same reason. And I haven't seen all of their works yet, though I can tell you this, I don't hate any of the ones I've seen. Though I am curious to see how this TV special fares, considering it's one of their later works prior to them stopping production in 1987. So let's see what they do for this particular adaptation of Pinocchio.
Papa Gepetto, what is happening? I've never seen such wonder.
Pinocchio? Ooh, what is it, my son? Oh, my wig.
Sorry. Look, the rain is fuzzy.
That's not rain, my little acorn. It is snow.
Ah yes, it would make sense that this would be his first experience with such a thing, even though this next line of dialogue seems to contradict that.
I've never heard of Christmas.
That is because you have never seen Christmas. It only happens once a year. And last year this time, you were still the branch of a tree.
Ew. Was Gepetto married to a tree when she created that branch? I kid, of course. He's just a very loving father. Now we get shown to this special's versions of the fox and the cat. In the books, and the majority of the adaptations, they were both male, though here the cat is either female or is cross-dressing. While the cat is in on the fox's schemes, they do seem to want to be part of Christmas instead.
Pinocchio is the world's only walking, talking marionette without strings. He is a living toy. He would make a perfect Christmas surprise for some child. We'll just whisk him away and find a wealthy father who'll pay us handsomely to place Pinocchio under his tree.
Yeah, but it'll take a lot of convincing to play out that plan exactly as how you picture it, because as naive as Pinocchio is, nothing can stop him from walking out the front door. Also, forgive me for the quality of this special. I wasn't able to secure a nicer version on time. Anyway, Gepetto sends Pinocchio off to school so he can make his Christmas list, but he doesn't know what to get since this is the first time he's done such a thing for a child. Quick, answer it via song!
I never know what gifts to buy, do you? Never. On all my lists are scarves and ties, you do, me do. I never know the size of gloves, the length of sleeves, the color she loves. And every time I buy a book, they've read it. I've read it. Christmas gifts. You're right. Forget it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not too keen on every song Rankin Bass does. So this one is alright because of the scenario of him talking to himself. It's also a nice display of how effective their stop motion effects can be when doing stuff like this. I always felt like stop motion was their best tool of creation since many Rankin Bass characters, well, they have some unique designs that don't honestly work well in 2D. Plus, there's just some sort of charm to the stop-motion effects that keeps me from ever disliking any of these Rankin Bass productions. So Gepetto, realizing he has no money anyway, decides to sell some boots for some copper coins so he can get Pinocchio an arithmetic book. Well, at least you got it before Christmas Day, so he can be disappointed now. And behind his back, Pinocchio decides to sell it back to the man who sold it to him.
Are you certain?
He changed his mind. He wants me to have a toy instead. Oh.
What's wrong?
My nose. Must be my imagination.
Well, at least they got the nose effect down nicely. Maybe he should have kept it after all. I mean, he can't seem to count properly.
1, 12, 4, 70, 11, 3. Look, I can count. Who needs an arithmetic book? He's got money. See? Hey! Fox! Cat! Where'd you fall from?
Well, now we know this would be later in his life, or he just plain out forgot about the times he was robbed, hanged, and murdered by them. Though in reference to being robbed, they convince Pinocchio that an angel told them they can plant coins in the ground and something similar to a money tree will grow. Of course, he falls for it and goes to plant the coins in the ground so they can be stolen shortly after.
Gonna get lucky, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. Gonna get lucky, knock on wood, gonna be rich and famous.
With this song, I only have a gripe with the voice work. It was not made for singing. No, don't go by him. He might use you for a stage performer. Yeah, that's Manji Fuoco, also known as Stromboli in the Disney movie, but here he goes by his name's literal meaning, Fire Eater. And just as a way of saying that this special is more or less the Christmas version of the books.
Cease the knocking, my little pie nut. I will make you rich and famous.
Who are you?
Maestro Fire Eater, puppeteer extraordinaire. Ah, yes, my card.
There's nothing written on it.
That's okay, you can't read anyway. You want to be rich and famous, don't you?
I'm rich already.
And cue Fox and Cat already digging away and Pinocchio being fooled again.
I'll never be able to buy Papa Gepetto a gift now. Unless...
I'll sell myself for firewood. My body must be valuable for something. No, he takes up the stage performance, which leads into what I admit is a pretty fun song. Partly due to the instrumentals and the singers that eventually join in.
Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh till they fall down on the floor. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh till their laughers get all sore. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh till their eyes are teary red. Oh, let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh till they laugh themselves to bed. Let 'em chuckle and howl. Let 'em grunt. Let 'em growl. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh. Let 'em laugh.
But now for more plot. Soon Pinocchio meets a marionette that Fire Eater calls Julieta, who he befriends. And like before, him being away from home gets Gepetto out looking for him.
Pinocchio! You've never stayed out so late.
This is a really strange way to adapt Pinocchio, mainly because I feel like some of his adventures should have happened by now, and this should not be the first time he's been out for this long. But also, unlike the Disney movie where he misses out on seeing Pinocchio at Stromboli's place, here he literally gets told about a living marionette, but when he gets there...
Sir Larry Olive Tree. Oh, it must be another living marionette.
How the hell is that possible, given what we learn later on? Take off that wig of yours and think! No wonder Pinocchio is denser than wood. He gets it from you. So when Pinocchio learns that Julieta is going to be turned into one of the three wise men next, this makes him sad.
Oh, Julieta, I know you were just a doll, but you seem like a very special friend to me. And maybe someday you will come to life too, like I did.
So it's time to kidnap her. This gets the fuzz on him, or rather one guy and two dogs. What was he doing? Walking them?
This is gonna be chilly, but we'll lose them.
Bravissimo! Fortissimo! Stay! Scenario!
We can't possibly trail them. We would need search dogs for... wait a minute.
We are headed toward the forest of enchantment. No one goes there at night, especially me.
Oh, when you put it that way. This is where the special tries to explain Pinocchio's origins. And from what I can find on Wikipedia, in the book, they don't mention that the tree he was from was enchanted. Just that as soon as this carpenter worked on him, he started to become sentient. Though here, at least, we can see that the forest he came from was what gave him sentience to a degree. So yeah, if there's anything to be said about Rankin Bass adaptations, is they do try to use the source material as best as they can without diverging too far off. These are liberties that fans of literature can probably take in compared to how Disney adapts their works, as they can be far more reasonable. As for this, I do kinda like where they're going with how he came to be, as well as explaining some of the other things he did after being born. Yet all this is telling me is they could have just done their own adaptation of Pinocchio in general. It doesn't really feel like a Christmas movie so far. Like, this could have been their reboot attempt after their TV series, The New Adventures of Pinocchio, which was also their first attempt at stop motion. And well, you can definitely see how far they progressed in their stop motion designs. So one other thing that might be tied to this Christmas plot they're going for is with the talking cricket, who of course preaches about needing to change Pinocchio's ways before he gets into trouble, which leads to him throwing a book at the cricket and making him leave.
Maybe the beauty of Christmas will change his ways.
But I guess it didn't, because I'm in more trouble now than ever. It was going to be such a Merry Christmas, too. Will I ever see Papa again?
That depends. Are we going inside a giant whale later? So then we see the fox and the cat talking to who I think is the coach driver, only here he's called the sleigh driver.
The Duke would certainly like to give his brat such a Christmas toy.
Really? Great minds work in the same...
Here's the goal. Bring Pinocchio to my sleigh by tomorrow noon, without fail, if you know what's good for you.
Yeah, the Disney version is still the best one.
They never come back as boys.
So after talking to Fire Eater about Pinocchio, they learn he's in the Enchanted Forest and head there. He tells him about a secret medicine that can bring Julieta to life, and for once, Pinocchio questions their credibility.
Every word I say is the truth.
Really, really?
It's the unvarnished truth, the naked truth. Oh, me lightning strike me down.
Jeez! Well, to be fair, it's hitting them and not him, so he might be telling the truth? Oh wait, they soon direct the lightning to a tree. But even that doesn't stop the obvious lie. Too bad Pinocchio is forever naive and decides to believe the lying duo. But who should show up but the fairy? Only here she's called Lady Azura. She scares the two away while Pinocchio falls unconscious, but she has taken him to her place, where she reveals that she was the one who planted his seed that made his tree grow. And she isn't happy with how he's been behaving lately, and has asked a doctor to check on him. And it turns out to be the cricket again.
Well, aren't you a sorry sight? Running away from the police? Stealing little lady puppets?
No, it was nothing like that.
Then how was it, Pinocchio? And mind you, the truth.
Oh, sure. Well, you see, she's really not a puppet. She's this, lost princess.
Come off it.
No, she is. What's happening?
Your nose has grown to match the lies you tell me.
Oh yes, this was apparently the first time he learns about why his nose sometimes grows. You'd think after all these months of hanging around with those two lying animals, he'd know what the hell happens each time he lied. He tells the truth about wanting to get Gepetto a Christmas present, and Azura sings him about how he only needs to give him his love. It's alright, but very mushy, even for someone like me. He promises not to lie anymore and is free to go. Meanwhile, Gepetto finds one of Fire Eater's failed attempts at recreating Pinocchio, and I'm surprised he only now recognizes him in a different outfit. But too bad he didn't do that on the poster he looked at earlier. He now feels sad that Pinocchio isn't moving anymore and sings us a song about his life.
My loved to sit and hear me sing. He loved to join off key. He loved to dance, he loved to laugh. He loved to simply be.
Yeah, I'm a little questionable on some of the parts, like how Pinocchio gets into trouble, cries, then gets defiant for some reason. Only shows he's kind of a brat. Anyway, as Pinocchio tries to get home again, he's once again met by the fox and cat, who now try to get him to go with the sleigh driver by telling him he needs to go to the North Pole and teach Santa's toys how to dance.
Knowing you will teach them skills which will win the hearts of children everywhere.
Company, fifth position, please. Now, dancing is very simple. Just follow me. Dancing. Let's go dancing.
No. Oh hey, it's the Santa model they used in The Year Without a Santa Claus. I wonder why they haven't crossed over yet. Anyway, despite the fact that Gepetto might be dying of loneliness by now, Pinocchio decides to take up on their offer and goes to the sleigh driver, where he's taken to the Duke.
Merry Christmas and all that nonsense.
Father!
Now, no time for sentiment. Open your present. I've got 3 whole wonderful minutes to spend with you. Then I must be off on affairs of state.
Wow, 3 whole minutes? That's a minute longer than last time. This is a happy Christmas. So even though Pinocchio barely has an understanding on what this family is like, he feels the need to speak up when the Duke decides to leave due to the kids now being unimpressed by the gift.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Here now. Christmas presents do not talk back to nobility.
Do you think it's what a present costs that counts?
I should have gotten a nice, polite choo-choo train. What do you suggest?
How about a little something from your heart? Put your love in a poem, roses are red.
And yes, through this song, he instantly becomes a better father. Glad that subplot came and went, right? Oh hey, Santa does show up to help Pinocchio get home. This is a crossover movie. And now to wrap up quickly, he returns home for a tearful reunion, Lady Azura shows up to reveal she brought Julieta to life, and they settle down for dinner together, in which Azura talks about what else can happen with Pinocchio.
Even I cannot promise miracles. If it happens, you will know.
Oh, but all that is in the future. Let us live one day at a time. And what better day than Christmas? To Christmas!
To Christmas!
And that was Pinocchio's Christmas, which was not very Christmas-like and not very memorable in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I kinda liked the idea of making this like one of his many adventures, though that would mean remembering some of the darker points in his life, so I guess it makes sense to try and adapt certain parts of the book instead, but try to fit in a Christmas theme. However, by attempting this, they end up having to juggle that theme with whatever story elements relating to the Pinocchio story together incoherently, and at times can feel rushed given the runtime, especially toward the end. Some of the songs are okay, though mostly forgettable apart from some sequences. Honestly, this doesn't have quite the same charm as works like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, The Year Without a Santa Claus, or even Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which shows that sometimes they can be enjoyable, but other times not. It's alright for what it is, but not the best Rankin Bass production. I'd say stick with the Disney version, or anything, as long as it's not Pinocchio 3000. Tune in next time, though, where we begin the Christmas season outright with our bonus objective review. And given the selection, I hope you all voted on... Oh.